What's up, guys? It's Kevin Wynn here with KTX Photography, and today we're going to go over a quick tutorial on how to retouch this photo. So I actually took this photo at my wedding. This is my wife, and we had our wedding 2 months ago or 3 months ago. And she's Indian, so we had a week-long wedding with a bunch of different events. This particular event is called Mindy, and basically what they're doing here is they're getting ready to draw patterns on her hands and feet using henna. So this is actually supposed to be an all-women event. I'm only here to take photos. Yes, I did take photography at one of my own wedding events, but I wasn't supposed to be a part of it, so it's fine. um, what we're gonna get in the end result is this picture. So you can see it. It's a little more interesting. It's a lot nicer, more color tones, and we're not gonna actually do much, you know, retouching per se. More just tuning, because there really isn't that much to retouch, in my opinion, as far as she goes, because she has pretty flawless skin. You can tell her face is very smooth and free of. Actually, I don't even think she has any blemishes. So yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, first thing I want to do is go into the basic uh, settings here. First thing I want to do is increase the contrast. This is a raw file, so the contrast is a little dull. So let's just bring that up. Let's bring it up a little bit to 17, 19. That'll do it. And then let's bring the highlights down a little bit. That should be good. And then let's bring out the shadows just a tad. Okay. This is actually all I'm going to do in this part. The main thing I want to do in this picture is change the tone, because you can see it's kind of this greenish yellowish tone, and I don't know if the white balance was off or something was off when I took this picture. So we're going to go down to, and skip all this, and we're going to go down to split toning. I love split toning. It gives you some nice control over the highlights and the shadows on what you want the tones to look like. So for the highlights, I want to bring the hue up just a little bit, maybe around 26. Let's bring the saturation up. Oh, see, that's a little too much. Let's bring it down. That should be good. Okay, and then the shadows, I want to have more of a bluish magenta color. So let's put it maybe around 219. Bring the saturation up there, and you can see this is definitely a more pleasant color tone, at least in my opinion, than what we had earlier. Let's see. Though now the picture is a little cold, so I do want to bring a little more magenta in here. I am liking magenta, so let's bring it to 236, and I think that saturation is okay. Yeah, I like that. Let's bring it down just a little bit, slightly more blue. Okay. So you can see with and without it, you can see the difference. And it might seem subtle, but I think I like it a lot. So actually, now that I want to look at it, I want to get a little more magenta. I can't make up my mind here. It's 236. So let's do that again. Let's look at it. Yeah, I like that. Okay, and then we want to go down and let's do a little bit of sharpening. Um, Usually on portraits, I don't like to sharpen too much. It brings out a lot of blemishes on the face, but like I said, she doesn't have that much. So let's do a little more sharpening there. Of course, it's gonna make our picture a little noisier, so let's do some noise reduction here. And you can see in the in the preview, we took out most of the noise. I don't want to do it too much, because then it kind of makes the picture look a little kind of fake or blotchy. I don't know how to describe it, but I don't really like it when there's too much. So that's about it from the basic tone adjustments and settings adjustments. So after that, we want to improve the composition of this, because we got a lot of things we want to get crop out here. A lot of dead space here from this dresser cabinet thing. This phone that happened to get into the picture, I want to get rid of that too. But I still want to keep the rule of thirds and keep her kind of in the right third of the picture. So let's bring this in. quite a bit. And let's try to get this phone out of here. I don't know if we can get it all the way. Well, now she's not really in the third. She's getting more towards the center. Let me keep a... maybe we can do a little bit with the hand in there. And then we want to keep the aspect ratio similar to what we had earlier, so let's bring the top down quite a bit. Okay, I think that looks good. You know, let's just take... This hand shouldn't even be in there. Let's take that out. Let's bring this... Oops, let's bring this one in a little bit to make it a little more even. And more space there. I don't want to take any of the bottom part out because I want to keep her hand in there, especially that ring. Okay, this is looking a little square. It looks like we gotta keep that, keep some of that hand in just to keep that aspect ratio more pleasant. Or we can just do this and this here. Okay, I think that'd be acceptable. So the next thing we want to do is go over to the adjustment brush, and you can see this is the back is all kind of dark and there's a lot of shadows back here, and that's because I'm using bounce flash on my camera. And the room wasn't exactly that dark. We had the lights dimmed because we had this pretty cool disco multicolor ball spinning thing while playing some indie music in the background. So it was a real lively event, but it was kind of dim. So we want to bring that the light out in the back a little bit, and we want to make it look, you know, we don't want to just brighten up the whole exposure back there. Let's make it look a little interesting. So let's go adjustment brush. Hit reset, just hit the alt key and it'll bring up this reset. And first thing I want to do is bring my exposure up to maybe 1. Let's see what that looks like. I want to feather quite a bit, and then let's just see how that looks. Yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe we can bring it up a little more. No, that's still too much. Okay, so what I like to do is kind of spot brighten up a little bit. What this does is it kind of creates uneven lighting, which in my opinion makes things look a little more interesting. Like the light is not just filling the room, it's bouncing all over, filling different spots and stuff like that. So you know, it's not all just one exposure, it's several different exposures, and that makes the whole thing look a little more interesting. So we'll just kind of pick some spots here, and we are pretty much brightening up the entire back, but we're doing it with some high feather on this exposure on this brush, and we're doing it in spots. So still brightens up the entire area, but we kind of create this fake uneven lighting with some, you know, shadows in there. So that's about it for that. One other thing I want to do is I like to put a little more highlight on the face, though hers is pretty bright. But basically I like to put a little more highlight in the face and the skin. Typically I like to do this to hide blemishes. Like I've said several times already, she doesn't have that much. But we'll go ahead and do it anyways. So let's get a new brush, bring everything back to reset. Let's bring the feather down to almost none, and let's bring the highlights up to about 25. Okay, and we'll kind of add some highlights on her face. That might be a bit much. Let's go down a little bit to 13. Okay, and then we want to do the same thing to her arms because we don't want just the face to be super bright. That wouldn't really look right. So let's do a new brush. Same thing. Since her arms are a little darker, we can afford to do a little more highlights. We probably want to do a little more feathering here too. Yeah, and then we wanted to just fill in her arm a little bit over here. Kind of touch around there. All right. So that's about it. That's all I really need to do to this picture, just to make it look better. You know, I'm not really happy with her highlights on her face. That's a little too much also. Like I said, her face is already pretty bright. I only want to add a little bit just to have her face pop out a little more. So, okay, so that's about it for this picture. I wasn't really going to do much with it, just a basic retouching. But you can see what just, I don't know how long this has been. You can see how much just a few minutes of retouching will do, or adjusting the settings will do to your picture. You can see what we had previously. This is what we started with. and this is what we have now. My opinion, much better looking picture, much more interesting, um, much more appealing tone, and I think it's actually better than my original edit. Let's see. Yeah, actually, I think I like it better. The phone is even more out. Picture's a little more square, and I'd really prefer it to be a little wider, but you know, that's okay. So, hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful to you. This is Kevin Wynn with KTX Photography, and until next time, I'll see you later.